Hi, I'm Brian. Today I'm going to show you how I made this simple lightweight sawhorse from a single 2x4. Many of the sawhorse designs I see on the web are heavy, complicated, and overbuilt. I wanted to make a sawhorse that's simple, light, cheap, and easy to build with hand tools. The first step is planing the stock. I didn't have to do this, but I wanted to remove the mill marks. Next I chamfered the corners. Also not necessary, but it strengthens the corners and looks nice. The 2x4 is cut into two 3-foot pieces and one 2-foot piece. Each 3-foot piece will become 2 legs when I rip them in half, and the 2-foot piece will serve as the top. So from one 2x4 I can make one sawhorse. The ends are cut at an 18-degree angle. You can see how these are laid out in the plans. I cut all these with a handsaw, although you could certainly use a circular saw. I laid out the cut lines for the upper part of the leg, which will connect to the top piece. Again, I cut them at 18 degrees. These are tricky to cut by hand, so I ended up using a circular saw with a guide to cut several legs at once. I finished them off with the handsaw since the circ saw doesn't have enough cutting depth to cut all the way through. The cuts were pretty rough where the legs would be connecting to the top piece, so I smoothed them out with the hand plane. I want these to be very flat so they will glue up well. Next I ripped the legs, making 2 legs from each 3-foot section. I did the first one by hand, but this was pretty slow going, so I did the rest with a circ saw. Hand tools work great for some things, but power tools have a place too. Not much left to do now but lay out the screws and attach the legs. In doing this I learned a bit about choosing the correct size pilot holes for various screw sizes, which I'll talk about in an upcoming video. Attaching the legs was tricky. The best way I found was to have 2 screws in the leg protruding slightly, then line them up with the holes in the top section and drive them in. The bottoms of the legs are very sharp and thin, so I decided to trim them. I used a scrap of 2x4 with a pencil attached to lay out the cut lines. I cut them off and rounded the inside corners to prevent splitting where they contact the ground. I like the way the sawhorses turned out. They're light, weighing about 10 pounds, and feel very strong and stable. I tested one out with a good amount of weight, and it held up with barely a creak. If you're interested in making your own sawhorse, click here to download the plans. In my next video I'll have a quick tip for hiding unsightly cords from TVs, lamps, and the like. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Take care.